to the ScamSlam channel. I'm here to bring you content from both shady and some not so shady individuals on TikTok. Ever scrolled through your For You page and come across a sketchy scam or a questionable character? Well, you're not alone, and that's where I come in. On this channel, I'll be diving deep into the world of TikTok to expose scams, scammers, and problematic content to steer clear of. From beggars, scammers, fakers, liars, abusers, and awareness creators that you watch, I'll be here to share it all. I'll be doing it all through showing live streams and adding in comments where appropriate. Be sure to look out for those red flags. So if you want to stay informed on what's really going on in the world of TikTok, then hit that subscribe button and join me on this wild ride. Let's expose the truth together, and reminder, don't send money to anyone on TikTok.
When I was 16 and my mother died, she had remarried. The man who was my stepfather was not a religious person. He didn't really believe in anything. His family did, however, and he allowed them to throw me out into the street because they said I was possessed of a devil. So when I was 16 years old, I was basically deprived with my mother. I thought so at the time, but then you grow up and you realize that you're being manipulated by a narcissist. And, you know, she was very good at it. And, you know, she used to, you know, I think my mom wanted me to live with her into her old age. She would manipulate friends so that they wouldn't come around. She would lie to people. She would find reasons that I couldn't participate in certain activities, or, you know, there was never any encouragement. It was always, I wasn't good enough for things, you know. Of course, that was both parents, but it was to keep my self-confidence at an all-time low. And do I think she did it deliberately? No, but sometimes she did. Like, when it came to dating. I met a boy when I was 16. And I had a terrible crush on him. Terrible crush. He was 18. He was a freshman at the University of Florida. And we went on a date. When we came back, we went to go see California Suite with Alan Alda. And then he took me to Wendy's, and we came back to my house, and he got out of the car and he kissed me goodnight. And my mother was in the bathroom watching out the window. So when I came home, she waited until I fell asleep, and she took his number off the nightstand. The number disappeared, so I had no way of reaching him. And then I got sick. I got really, really sick. And of course, my mother never believed in going to the hospital for that kind of thing. So I laid there with a fever of 105 for about 4 days. Couldn't answer the phone. He called, and my mother didn't take a message. And when I was, you know, well enough to sit up in bed, she said, "That boy called. You really didn't want to talk to him, did you?" And I looked at her and said, "No, ma'am." Because that was the correct response for any kind of crap like that, you know. Her asking me, you didn't really, you know, the leading question, you didn't really want to talk to him. You didn't really want to participate in that. You really didn't want that dress, did you? The correct response was, "No, ma'am." And, I wasn't 16. I was 17. 17. First date I had ever been on in my life. Because she had been so good. Her and my dad had been so good at keeping me away from... I don't want to talk about it, Sean. I'm not going to give out that kind of specific information anymore. I'm done answering specifically personal questions about my life in the present. Although more often than not, it's been playing to my favor. Somebody called the owner of the building, or the boss of the building, the government building that I was hanging out in front of, and told him that I was a terrible person and a scammer and a blah, 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 blah. And he ran right out to my car to tell me that one of you lovely human beings had called and filled up my car with gas so that I wasn't, freezing to death tonight. And then he took me and bought me dinner. So thank you. Very kind of you. By all means, continue to talk garbage about me, because you know who's going to win this battle? I am. Because I'm just me. That's all I am. And my life doesn't change from one day to the next. So, be as hateful as you need to be. Know what I mean? So, I've had trolls in here every single day for months. Hi, Amber. How are you? Hey, country girl. How are you? So, I want to thank you for, giving me a consistent stream of people who come in here and listen to me and decide for themselves whether or not, hey, sweetheart, decide whether, for themselves whether or not they want to help, and that's okay. It also gives me a wonderful opportunity to block every single hateful person who opens up their yap. So that's cool. Yep, I knew where you were from. San Diego in the house. So it's 10 degrees here right now. I'm in my car. I'm trying very hard not to be upset about it. There are a lot of people who, just blow right past, and I get used to that, See, I think in this situation, you can't ignore me quite as easily as you can the bum at the corner with the sign that says anything helps. You can't accuse me of being drunk or an abuser, or, a substance abuser, because It's clear I'm not. And you can't figure out how somebody as smart and as well-spoken as I am in this situation, and it's not my fault. So of course you have to blame me. And I get that. Because you can't wrap your head around the fact that sometimes people experience hardship and it's not their fault. You have to have somebody to blame, because if you don't blame me, then you know it can happen to you too. And that scares you. And I get it. I understand. So, this car is having a hard time running. Power steering fluid. If you want to contribute to its repair, links are in my bio. I have raised some money, but it went toward, keeping bills current, paying bills, paying the phone bill, stuff like that. Buying brakes for my car and putting them on. There was another homeless woman last week that I got her brakes and put them on her car. Bought her a battery. We were live the whole time. So, if you feel like you want to help out, the links are in my bio. Venmo and Cash App are the way to get me money so that I can access it quickly. And I don't know, go buy dinner maybe, or pay a bill. I'm good at paying bills. I enjoy paying bills. Hi, Nan. Hi, Pauline. How are you? I'm here. It's 10 degrees here. I'm just here asking for help to get my car fixed. I need a power steering pump. And I need some gas money. That would be great. I'm very sorry. I hope you get to feeling better soon. Go take a nice hot shower and get those airways open, and then get some tea and Tylenol on board and go cuddle up in bed. You know? Welcome back, Steph. I don't know what a behind-the-counter meds is. Are you talking about Sudafed? I don't know what a behind-the-counter med is. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. That stuff it just never did anything for me. I mean, it didn't decongest me. It just... Yeah. Need some herbal teas are really... Hey Lucy. Need some herbal teas are... they open up the sinuses and help loosen stuff up. But as far as drying stuff up, I don't see the benefit there. That, that wet is there to help move the infection, the bacteria out of your sinuses. You don't want it there, or in your throat. You don't want it there. You want it gone. So drying it up doesn't make the bacteria move any faster. It kind of makes it to where it, stays there. And I would rather just I think the only over-the-counter med I had when I was sick was Tylenol, but and of course I had no teas or anything, and it ended up turning into pneumonia. Thank you, Sean. That's one of the kindest things somebody said in a while to me. Thank you. I try to put what's happening in our world into some kind of perspective and how it affects our lives, and not just, the price of eggs are going to go up, but how it affects us internally, and how it affects our relationships, and how it affects our ability to affect our lives, and not just, the price of eggs are going to go up, but how it affects us internally, and how it affects our relationships, and how it affects our ability to have relationships. And I think that's important. I think that's why we're here. The number one reason for being on this planet in a skin suit is to love one another. And if you are not doing that, then you need to start addressing the causes why. And that's what, that is the driving reason why I want to be a psychologist. Okay? And that is why I'm pushing so hard. Yes, I need help. Yes, I need help. I need help, guys. I really do. I'm 64 years old at this point. I need, in my heart of hearts, to have that psych degree. And I need help getting there. I need help fixing my car. I need help surviving while I find a decent job. I need help getting through school. I need help fixing my house so I can sell it and help pay for school. My plan is to buy an RV and live in the RV while I go to college. But I need to be able to get that house off my back. Okay? It needs to go away. I need to take that money and buy an RV. And that way I'm paid off. I'm done. I don't need anything else. I don't need to make a house payment anymore. And I can take my money and go to school and finish school. That's what I want to do. And I'm not going to stop, trolls, just in case any of you were in here. I'm not going to stop. Not going to stop. I need to sell the house, but I can't right now because I'll lose money on the prospect. I need to get it fixed first. I need help. I need help getting there, okay? I'm not asking you to move a contractor into my home and completely remodel the place into a palace. I need money, for example. I need money for PEX so I can do the plumbing myself. I need money for the parts, okay? Instead of replumbing the house by a professional, I'm gonna do it. Because I now have professionals who are willing to teach me to get me through the project. But you know what? Helping me put a power steering pump in this car so that I can get to work and keep delivering food, that's step number 1. That's what I need help with this week. Also, some hair shampoo might be nice. And the links are in my bio. And that's why I'm here, guys. I mean, I don't think you guys realize just how painful this experience has been, coming in here and asking for help from total strangers who are every bit as willing to be evidence of the greater internet theory as they are a nice person. They will have church lady, mother, devout follower of the Chibas in their profile, and then turn around and say something hateful to me. Because that's who they are, you know. Way down in their, you know, in that hole where their soul is supposed to be, you know. So, here come the trolls. Okay, guys. Say your little piece and leave, will you? Hi, Hope. How are you? I'm here. Not much. Nothing's happening. It's 10 degrees here in sunny Nowheresville. Thanks. So, I definitely think the trolls, that I scare people. Because they realize that if it can happen to me, part of their brain says, if it can happen to me, it can happen to them too. And that's unfortunate, but for a moment, you need to consider that it's not you and me, or you or me, it's us. That we are in this mess together. And to put it in Christian terms, nobody makes it to heaven unless they do so on the shoulder of the people that they have helped. Hey Daniel, how are you? I'm here. I'm in my car. It's 10 degrees. It's, it's a day. The power steering fluid in the car, or the power steering is broken. It's leaking fluid. I need to replace it. It's not the reservoir, it's the pump. So I'm asking people for help. I found a mechanic to help me put it in. I just need to get the part. So a real mechanic. The links are in my bio. There's 3 links in my bio. I would prefer Cash App or Venmo, because I can access the money faster and make it to the parts store tomorrow morning, which would be It's $171 before tax, with a $38 core charge. So 171, so 209 before tax. And, you know, that's today's problem. I'm still looking for work. I have an interview at, and, you know, that's today's problem. I'm still looking for work. I have an interview at a fast food place tomorrow. There's a factory that, or excuse me, not a factory, a warehouse showing interest, but I don't think I can take the job because one of the questions they asked is, can you lift 50 pounds 1,000 times a day? I was like, is that even humanly possible? I know, right? I was like, that's not even humanly possible. Yeah. So, I mean, and the job only pays $19 an hour. I was like, holy fuck. But, you know, the minute I turn that job down, some asshole online's going to go, you just don't want to work. You know, you're just lazy. You just don't want to work. So, yes. Yes, the fast food gig pays $11 an hour, which is, you know, nothing. So, I'm going to be here asking for help until somebody offers me a decent job or I get through college. And I'm betting on college. So. No, they don't. They don't. You know, because they've never had to struggle. They, you know, they can sit around and be lazy and collect a check because, you know, they lie their way through the system. They're not honest when they go to apply for these benefits. And I've seen it time and time again. They'll say, you know, the system is set up for you to fail to begin with. All right. So if you're living with a relative and you tell them you're renting a room, the system, you're telling the system you're renting a room, they are more likely to give you the benefits than if you say, oh, I'm living with my mom, because your mom will help you out more than some total stranger. And they want to account for every single dime that you have so that you can get your little $100 a month food stamps or whatever it is. So they grow up knowing how to manipulate the system, and they get mad when somebody like me comes along and says, look, I don't want to participate in that shit. I want to get a job. I want to finish school. What do you mean you want to finish school? You'll be 70 years old by the time you're done. Why are you trying to do that? That's a waste of money. According to whom is it a waste of money? Have you applied for government assistance? Yep, that's another one. That sure is. Oh. It's unbelievable. They look at somebody in my situation and say, well, of course you're going to qualify if you go in there and lie, and that's the caveat. If you go in there and lie, you'll qualify. If you don't tell them everything, so I told them everything, and I don't qualify. And then then the trolls go, well, why don't you qualify? Why don't you? Because in their minds, they get through it. Yeah. So, But because, they have figured out how to skirt their way around the system, Yeah. I just don't want to, I don't want to participate in it. I just don't, I don't. And then some asshole who runs a anti-scammer group comes in here and says, well, I feel like you paid into the system. You might as well collect the check. And I'm like, you crazy bitch, please shut up. I have 3 cars. 3 cars. 2 of them don't run. 1, because I got scammed. 2, because I got scammed. And 3, the one I'm sitting in right now. And I'm not going to sit here night after night after night after night after night and give every single little detail about how this shit happened. Not going to do it. I'm sorry, Daniel. I am not going to dissect my life every single night. It happened. I'm trying to get past it. I'm trying to survive in the now. There's nothing I can do about that. 1 car is sitting in my garage molding. The other one is at a place where I can work on it if I can buy parts. No. No update on the police. So, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit until there's a body in the yard. And even then, if it's not a good neighborhood, they don't care. Somebody said something shitty. Somebody was not a nice person. So that's my situation. And I need help. And the links are in my bio. There's a Cash App, GoFundMe, and Venmo. I don't know if you're allowed to. I'm not sure. I don't know if you're allowed to. Have you? I think it would give the trolls something else to scream about, because they're such lovely human beings to start with. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. So, actually, yeah, there are a couple here. Yep, they're here. One sad little human being looks kind of like Ashley Babbitt, but, Yeah. Hi, Lucy. Yeah, Lucy is here. Yeah, they just come in here and they hang out and they don't say anything until, they all start slamming me. They wait for their numbers to increase. What they actually do is, they sit here for a while and watch, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it is weird. Yeah, they are. Lucy's seen them troll me a lot. And they always say the same thing. And there's one poor soul who can't spell the word beggar. So every time she comes in here, she spells it wrong. And she says, one of these days you're going to quit being a beggar. And I said, one of these days you're going to learn how to spell the word beggar. She's kind of an idiot. It's okay. So, I don't have a single problem asking strangers for help. I've gotten to that point in my life that I have been trying to pull it together for over 60 years. And I can't. For whatever reason, that I need to figure out in therapy and not anywhere else, but, I need help. And I don't understand why I should be ashamed of that. I had somebody telling me the other day, there's a place here in town where you can go get a shower and do your laundry, right? It is overrun with addicts and the mentally challenged. I don't want to say mentally challenged. What do I want to say? Emotionally disturbed, okay? These people are dangerous, okay? If you walk in there, it's absolute filth. Yeah, they're ill. The emotionally ill. And you stand a chance of being attacked. And there have been plenty of people who have been carted off in an ambulance because they've got broken ribs or, a cheekbone has been broken or something going on, just sitting there waiting to get into the showers. Okay? Nothing. The addicts and the emotionally ill are there to, and they cause problems because they're unsupervised. They're standing outside of a building, you're waiting to get in to shower and do laundry. And that could be very bad for you. And the machines aren't cleaned and, No, I'm not going in there. It's dangerous, Daniel. I would rather be smelly than have my, have my ribs crushed. Thank you, though. I'll live with the smell. And somebody said I was inventing reasons not to go in there. I'm like, no, pardon me, but when I was an Uber driver, I took people from that place to the hospital more than once. I'm not going. No. The woman whose brakes I replaced the other day, the homeless woman who I was raising money for to fix her brakes, I got her brakes in, and she told me a story. She had cracked ribs in that place. They broke her cheekbone in that place. Somebody hit her in the face with a baseball bat. She's 67. She's sitting waiting on senior housing here, and has been since June. So 7 going on 8 months, she's been waiting for housing, and there is none. There's no housing. There's no senior housing available. Hey, Mimi. Yeah. I'm here. Thank you, though. I hope you're well. People seem to think that, people seem to think that the rules somehow are evenly applied across the board. Well, this is how it worked for me, therefore it will work for you like that. And that's not true. That's not true. Every state works differently. Every city works differently. Every church works differently. There is no regulation on how housing is to be turned out other than at the federal level. There's no uniform regulation. So, I'd like to tell you that I have all the answers, but I don't, I can tell you that I see how things work to a certain extent, and I can see answers, but that rugged individualism that we blabbered on about since the 1980s? I'm running the car, Daniel. I'm running the car. Somebody put gas in the car, and it's half gone. I've got half a tank of gas. Yes, all night. Yes. I have no other way to stay warm. Oh my. I guess IU just scored against Miami. I think Miami is fixing to tote an ass whooping. What do I do during the day? I have to move around a little bit because people are, they're out and about and they don't want you in their parking lots. So if you're in your car and you found a safe spot, you're going to have to move every 45 minutes or so. And you can't go to the same place often. So you've got to, move around. And if people come up to you, you just say, oh, I had to pull over for a phone meeting. And I mean, they see my stuff in the car. And so I have to make up excuses about why I've pulled over. And I sit there for 20 to 45 minutes and then it's off to the next place. So, because this is a smaller town, there's only one Walmart, and the Walmart here is just as scuzzy in the parking lot as it is inside, I'm not trying to stereotype or nothing, but I ain't looking for an ass whooping in the parking lot either. Usually I look for an office complex that closes. The last time I got a good night's rest, August. When all this started. August. I don't have any pillows. I have a sleeping bag in the back, but the cats have decided that's their home and they tunnel in there, like if I have to get out of the car and turn the car off, they have built themselves a little fort in there and they tunnel in there and stay warm while I'm out of the car. So I have this coat, which doesn't really fit, and no pillows. So that's how that goes. No, I don't have any family. I had family at one time, and you'll hear me talk about them occasionally, but as of today, I don't have any family. There's but see, if you send me stuff, you're sending me stuff to carry around in a car that's too small to live in. So, what I need is money to pay the Planet Fitness gym membership so that I can shower every day, and money for shampoo, and money for toothpaste, and money to wash my clothes so that I can go on job interviews and not smell like something that got dragged out of the bus station, I cannot safely do it. I can sneak in there, but like I said, we're talking about more dragging, we're talking about dragging more stuff around. And I am loaded up, people. I'm just loaded up. Okay? And right there is the cat box. That great big thing in the back, that's the cat box. So, and the trunk's full too. The trunk has tools and car parts and laundry and stuff like that in it. Yeah. No, nobody's in my house. It's the neighbor across the street who's threatened to kill me. That's the guy I'm trying to avoid, okay? I don't have any way to stream once I get there, you see, because I live out in the country. My house is out in the country. And there's no internet service out there unless I had Wi-Fi. And I don't have Wi-Fi. So I can't, until I get the Wi-Fi turned on in the house, I can't go home. I don't have enough cameras. There's 4, 5, 6 doors, 6 places on that house that need to be covered with security cameras. So if I can get in there and I have the internet set up, I can get those cameras set up and I can actually start sleeping at home. Problem is, I can't pay the bills because I don't have a job. So I'm still asking for help. Now, can you imagine how the internet would react if I were sitting in my own house saying, I need help, or I'm going to be back in my car? They'd be like, get a job, bootstrap. Same bullshit. And, the stupid and drunk will come in here and say, you got an excuse for everything. You just don't want to work. That kind of crap. Oh, God. Daniel, they do things like try and figure out where I am and call the people who run the businesses where I'm parked. Of course I know they're wrong. I mean, that's the only thing. Knowing that they're wrong and needing the help, those are the things that keep me back. Having faith and trust that there are decent people out there who will help me if I ask. Yeah, I agree. I mean, these people don't give a crap. They don't give a crap at all. Well, you should be on government assistance because that's what normal people do. No, that's not what normal people do. See, they don't want the responsibility of they don't want the agony of having to face a world where people are struggling. They want you to go into a facility or housing and collect your check and shut up. Because they don't want to face that this is the world you are supporting and creating. This is it right here. And you are 1/2 of one step right behind me. Mimi, there are 2 things that I want to do. Well, a couple. First off, I need to get a job. I need to, clean myself up, get a job, start working the job. Then I can get the internet turned on at the house. Then I will be able to pay my bills and get the cameras set up. And then I'm going to go buy and that's the best I can do. I'm still putting myself in danger, but that's the best I can do. Oh, God. If only I could breathe. Oh, God. If only I could breathe. Sorry. So, you know, when they come in here and they say, they're live streaming you, you're a scammer. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. So, yeah. I'm a terrible person. Look at me. In all my ill-gotten gains, I'm, you know, doing so well. Ignorant people. So, no, I'm not. What made you ask that? I might have been talking about Minnesota. I might have been talking about having relatives there. I'm related to just about somebody in my family tree joined the LDS church, and part of their joining the church is that they have to do family research, right, and figure out their roots and all that crap, right? So it turns out that I am related to just about everybody in Minnesota with the last name Jensen, Olson, Nilsson, Nelson, Anderson, Harrison. So if it ends in S-E-N or S-O-N, I'm probably related to it. Plus, you know, yeah, because my grandfather's family settled there before it was a state. And the area that is now Princeton was where my family's farm was. So, my grandfather's name was Walter Powers Jensen. And my grandmother's name was Stella Gertrude Bakoven. So, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, no, they're not here. My mother passed when I was 17. I was just a kid. And because of the I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. And because of the years of narcissistic abuse, of being sheltered, of being, you know, not allowed to build and maintain friendships and develop interests that my parents didn't approve of or didn't participate in or couldn't monitor. I came out of high school with no real idea of what to do next. I was 24 before I actually went to a family friend and said, by the way, I'm being abused. And she said, no, your dad loves you. Your dad loves you. And I knew that was bullshit. Because he had told me, I hate you, I loathe you, I detest you. You know, I knew. I'd heard it all my life. You know? He compared me to breeding cattle more than once. He called me the W word from about the time I was 9 years old. He compared me to streetwalkers, and by the time I was 12, to another family member. No, it wasn't. I knew it. I grew up knowing it. It's not awful if you just know it's fact, you know, because you're taking for granted that there was some kind of sense of loss there. I couldn't lose something I never had. So, it's like $25 a month and like a $50 membership fee or something. You have to pay, and then, anyway. So I think the only thing that stopped my dad from being even more horrible than he was his drive to make money. If that drive had not been there for him to be a big-time politician and be in the public eye, he would have been a lot worse than he was. And my mother would have drank a lot more. So, would have drunk a lot more? So, we're talking about a sense of loss that I never had. My mother was the kind of narcissist who the love bombing and the making you feel like they're the only person in the world that you can trust kind of thing. She was real good about that. My dad was the same way, except with my siblings. So I was kind of the target child. When my mother wanted my dad's favor, she would participate in the activities of, making me feel like a pile of crap. And they would all have a good laugh. So, it's just the way it was. I spent a lot of time in my room, like an inordinate amount of time in my room. I would come home. My brothers would go out to play. I would sneak into the family room where my mother was not. She was in the other wing of the house. And I just did say wing. drinking and, whatever. And I would watch reruns about nice families and people who cared one another, like Bonanza and stuff like that. And I would watch Star Trek and, Lucy and that kind of thing. And that's where I got my sense of normalcy about humans, was the television. Because what I was experiencing was mommy dearest level treatment. And then the minute anybody came home, I would go right back to my room. My dad came home from work, my brothers came in from playing, I would go straight to my room. And that's where I lived until my mother passed away. I'm sorry about that. My mother passed when she was 51. So, very young. So, I know what normal relationships are supposed to be like, but I have yet to experience one. Because, until you figure out what an abnormal relationship is and your part in it, you continue to seek out those relationships because that's what's normal. That's what's comfortable. Familiar. I don't want to say comfortable. I want to say familiar. That's what's familiar to you. So you will seek out narcissists as partners in life, and that's what I did. I had 2 marriages. Both of them were and they were both gay men, and I didn't know it. Now, I don't know what that says about my parents. I think maybe my mother wasn't exactly straight, but my first husband, I'd been married about a year, and I had to go to Florida for some medical treatment of some kind. I won't talk about that. So anyway, my ex is at home, and I went down to stay with his parents so I could see this one doctor. And his father tells me, that when my son was, how old was he? 12 or 13? He was having an affair with the special needs boy down the road, and it went on for a year and a half. Which is and the parents didn't know about it because, they weren't supervising their children. And at some point, you got to question yourself about who's responsible. Well, of course, the kid who wasn't special needs. That was the one who, Terry, are you here to troll? You want to answer questions? Are you here to troll? Are you here to troll? Because that's usually what trolls come in and do, is to start demanding, they interrupt the conversation and start demanding answers. If you would like to, participate, you're more than welcome. So, you got to ask yourself what the adults were doing, who's responsible for this thing that happened. And it had to be the kid who was not special needs, which was my ex. And it went on for 1.5 years. And they finally figured it out. I guess he was about 13. They put his butt in therapy, right? And the counselors, the counselor's response to all of this was, just don't think about it. Because he had told the counselor that the only time he could become interested in participating in a physical relationship with anyone was when he thought about God and Jesus. So that tells me that his religion was telling him it was okay for him to feel these things if he could channel them in a holy way. So he was fantasizing about male figures at an early, at that age where boys do, and acting them out with a special needs kid down the road. So it's a level of sickness I can't even wrap my head around. And nobody told me until I'd been married to this guy for 1 year. He was gay. And he hadn't figured out how to make it okay with his religion to be gay. And he still hasn't. Last I heard, he's, making some other woman tragically unhappy. And she hasn't the sense to figure out it's him, not her. But okay. So, and, the second marriage was definitely not any better. I'm not with a woman. Oh, him. Yeah, I think it's because society is so hateful toward gay men that they just want to fit in. So they are willing to lie to themselves and to some poor woman and be in that relationship and not, rather than come to grips with who they are. And nobody can convince me that it's not conscious on their part, because they make choices every step of the way to present as a straight male. So they're very good. They're very good at lying to women about who they are. They will do everything they can to convince the woman that they feel as though would be a good beard for them that they're just as straight as an arrow. Yeah, I think we all do, Carol Eve. Well, he was in counseling, and the counselor knew about the whole God and Jesus thing, about fantasizing about God and Jesus, and still told him, you know how to change this? Just don't think about it. Just don't think about it, she said. Rather than, coming to grips with the fact, it's the same kind of thing. They must have had him in counseling with a Christian therapist, because That's the kind of nonsense they say that conversion therapy. Think about something else, you know? Focus on how you're a manly man. We're men, manly men, men in tights. Sorry, I couldn't resist. You know that movie, don't you? We're men, manly men, we're men in tights. Carrie Elwes was so funny in that thing. So, anyway. Psychology. Yeah, psychology. I have wanted to be a psychologist since I was about 11 years old. Yeah, seriously. I know. I have wanted to help people since I was 5 or 6 years old, and I grew up under the impression that women could not be ministers, and it wasn't the kind of help I wanted to do. I didn't just want to preach at people. I wanted to be able to help them. And therapists looked a lot more effective than being a preacher. And this was a decision I made when I was 5 or 6 years old. And by the time I was 11, I absolutely, it was like, what are you going to be when you grow up? A psychologist. So. And I have spent a lifetime reading on things that improve your mindset and your quality of life. And I feel like it's possible to get people to a place where their lives improve. But when you're talking about somebody who has fallen down so far that they can't get up, then the answer is not to preach at them or to tell them what to do, but to help them. Food, shelter, housing, people. Food, shelter, housing, education. Those are the 4 needs. Food, shelter, housing, education. You might as well throw clean water and clean air in there too. Food, shelter, housing, water, air, and education. Yeah, that would have been my next choice, except I think it's a really dangerous time to be a teacher. Hey, Digital Grandma, how are you, sweetheart? So the trolls were in here the other day talking about how I had said I had attended Harvard. And I'm like, holy shit, if only I had attended Harvard. You know, you have a choice when you go to those big schools as to whether or not you get a world-class education or you skate your way through because daddy's paying the bills. And I honestly didn't want to go to Harvard. I wanted to go to Princeton. Yeah, I never said that. I never said I wanted to go to. I would have, you know, if the opportunity had presented itself. You know, you do not look a gift horse in the mouth. But were you in here, Carol Eve? I didn't know you were in here when that happened. The trolls. The trolls, the trolls. I'm in my car, you know. Yeah, it's like 10 degrees out here. It was the last time I checked. It's probably colder now, but yeah, it's cold. Yeah, me too. You know, I've thought a lot about why this is happening, because I don't believe anything happens by accident. And except of course accidents. So we're all here for a reason. You guys are here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. And I'm on TikTok for a reason. TikTok exists for a reason. Nothing happens by accident. And I wonder in my own way, am I teaching people about poverty or the state of things financially in this country? And are you watching somebody who is well-spoken and obviously well-educated slipping down the pipes because of our own inactivity and unwillingness to police the politicians that we put in office? Or does it really have to do with just helping me? Or I mean, there's got to be something going on that I haven't wrapped my head around, but nothing happens by accident. Maybe it really is that I am to be here asking for help until I get myself through school. Maybe this is the way it's going to happen. I'm okay with that, you know. I'm not in a province, Corinne. I'm in the States. Although I would move to Saskatchewan in a heartbeat. Psychology. I mean, I see a lot of universities online, right? And they're all charging money. Everybody's charging fucking money for knowledge. What if somebody actually took the time to set up free schooling for people? I was going through a program with Arizona State University. I am enrolled. I'm just not in classes because I don't have any money now. I'd be willing to go get my finish my 2-year at the local university. Again, no money. I would rather not attend the universities here in this state because, frankly, I think the education quality sucks. Yeah, it is. There are states where you can go and as long as you are a resident of that state, you get your 4-year degree for free. So I would happily trip my little butt out to New Mexico, but it involves having a working vehicle, somewhere to live, and selling the house that, is falling down around my ears now. So I've got to fix the house, sell it, and then I can move. You know what I mean? So, welcome back, Carol Eve. No, I can't. I'll lose money on it. I thought about that. I tried to sell it. I gotta fix it first. So, I keep telling you guys I'm not going to make it through unless I get help, and I'm not. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not. Oh, no problem. Yeah. Well, the pipes froze last winter and ruptured in 3 different places. So, big repair. Also, there's foundation damage. Big repair. So I keep telling you guys that I'm not going to make this through this without help, and it's not an exaggeration. I need help. I am 64 years old. I can't go out there and work 2 jobs anymore. I can probably work 1 job and then Uber or Uber Eats for a while after the second job, but that first job can't be lifting 1,000 50-pound boxes a day. I don't know any 64-year-old who can lift 1,000 64 or 50-pound boxes a day. Shit, I could barely do that when I was in my early 20s. 1,000? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that with this house. I streamed live one day. I showed people and they were like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, well, not doing that again. So I tried to sell the house and I was told that they would offer me $57,000 for it. I paid $82,000. So I can do the repairs myself except for the foundation. But I need to get the plumbing done first and possibly remodel the kitchen. Okay? So all that has to happen first. Hey, Gracie Boo. So, anyway. I'm here. What are that cost more than what you'll lose in selling it? Lose. I don't think I understand the concept of lose. If the house sells for 57 and I own 82, what are you saying? And I owe 80. What are you saying? Lose. That's $27,000. $23,000. Okay, so let's figure it this way. Say I sell the house tomorrow and I find myself $23,000 in debt. Now I have to go find a place to live, or I continue living in my car. How has that made my situation better? Let's say I win the lotto tomorrow for just enough to get a place to live. So now I have a place to live. I've sold the house. I still owe $23,000. But now I'm paying $1,400 to $1,600 a month rent, which is 2.5 times what I'm paying for the house now. I owe $80,000 on the house, yes. So the math ain't mathin' for me to get rid of the house under any circumstances right now. Until I can get, no, No, if I owed money and if I were going to get $57,000 out of the house, I'd be like, I would buy myself a $30,000 RV, put my other shit in a U-Haul, move it across country, get a storage unit, and live in that RV. That would be how it would go. Hold on, guys. I've been on for a while, and TikTok gets mad when you don't take a break every so often. So I'm going to take 5 minutes or so, okay? Maybe 10. I'll be right back. So I'm going to take 5 minutes or so, okay? Maybe 10. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Had to get the cat some water. Oh, baby. Yes. Oh, goodness. Oop. Foof, foof, foof. Foof, foof. Yes. Foof. They want you to know, foof. Just in case you guys were wondering. You see Sourpuss? Foof. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. And there's Chester. Yeah. I don't answer that question anymore, Daydreamer. Sorry. I don't give my whereabouts out online. Too many trolls. Too many people threatening to make my life even more of a living hell than it is already. So I don't answer that question anymore. Well, so do I. And I have been through all of them. I don't qualify for a lot of these programs. Some don't exist. Like, there is no program through Habitat for Humanity or through the state to get my plumbing fixed. There is no energy assistance unless I am making almost nothing. 211 has no offer of any kind of help for me. The waiting list for senior housing is almost a year long. And I know several people who are have been on that list and are still on that list and sleeping in their cars. I've met more than one person in that situation. So, I have yet to find a government program that assists with home repair. I have called the police about my neighbor who has threatened to unalive me and my cats, which is why the cats are in the car with me, and me instead of me going home to check on them. I don't know what to tell you. If this were an easy fix, if I could just call somebody and ask for help, I wouldn't be here. Because okay, well, send me some links. Send me a place to start looking. Because I have been looking for help and asking for help since August. And I'm live or giving updates, one of the two, or sometimes both, almost every day. I can't DM you now because if I do, it'll end the live. I have tried the Salvation Army. I have tried all the churches in a 3-county radius. There is one deacon of one church who has been helping me out of his pocket. Absolutely, Daydreamer. I certainly will. But, you know, I don't mean to be like I'm in a rush, but I kind of am, because I have an aneurysm and a brain tumor here. And I don't want to be 90 years old and trying to still get through school. You know what I mean? So I'm in a bit of a rush. You know, the clock, she's a ticking. Here you go, baby. It's very good, but the food's back there in the food dish. Gosh, you're a fluffy thing for a short-haired cat. You are so fluffy for a short-haired cat. How did you get to be so fluffy? Here she comes. Here she comes. Oh, yes, purr, purr, purr. Everybody, this is Sourpuss, if you don't know it already. And, you know, there being government programs somewhere, that doesn't stop my immediate need. I still need to be able to bathe, to do laundry, to put the power steering pump in a car so that it continues to run and keep me warm until I get the house fixed. So I'm here because I don't have any family. I don't have anybody I can ask. So here I am with my little virtual sign, like, you know, the people out on the street corners. Anything helps, you know. No, pipes are ruptured in 3 different places. They froze last winter. No toilet, no shower, no sink. No, it's the heat too. There's no heat in the house, and the foundation is screwed. Yes, listen to Lucy. She's been here for God since the beginning. She's heard it all. No, I'm not parked outside my house. I live out in the country, so there's no internet out there. My house is an hour away. I'm parked in the next place big enough to be called a town, so that I have access to food and job interviews and, you know, stores, so I can buy cat food and cat litter. Hey, Clay. How are you? I'm here. You know, and the trolls come in here, and a lot of them are 70 years old or more. And they're under the impression that they're living in the same world they were when they were 20. That it's just that easy to walk out and get a job. That the money that you get paid is going to be enough to live on. Because they've got a house or a trailer or something that they're living in with their kids or something. Or they're living in senior housing and they're surviving on a check of, $1,000 a month. Because it hasn't occurred to them yet. Oh yeah. You would be amazed at the number. Lucy, am I lying? One of my biggest trolls, her fucking name is Nana. They're, Cheeto supporters. Nana is a huge troll. Hey, Alex. Let me see if I can find a picture. I will show you the Cheeto. See if I can find the Cheeto. There he is. Here's the Cheeto. These are folks who absolutely believe in bootstrap, get a job. Like I haven't been trying to get a job the whole time. Or that, people want to live in abject poverty or want to deal with food, nutritional inadequacies. Yes, the Cheeto is the Cheeto is a person. And he has supporters who voted him into office. The green screen doesn't like my coat for some reason. Isn't that weird? It keeps... How long have you been without a job? I still have the house. I just can't live there. I was working at an auto parts factory, and they took a winter break, and so the last day of work was... I was working at an auto parts factory, and they took a winter break, and so the last day of work was December 23rd, and I found out January 2nd that the contract was over and there was no more work. So I've been out of work since the since the 23rd, but didn't find out I had no work left until the 2nd. So I'm going to take that down now because it's irritating. There we go. December. Yes. Last month. Yes, last month. So I've been out of work less than a month. A year ago. I just said all this stuff. Are you writing it down or something? I was staying at my home. I was coming into town to shower. No, I didn't start asking for help until stuff started blowing up to the point where I couldn't get to work. I didn't have a job. I had been fired from a job. Which has happened almost never in my lifetime, okay? I was fired for not unloading a truck that they never asked me to unload. And when I confronted the woman who fired me, she said, "Well, we don't need a reason." So I had been at the job for less than a month. My car wasn't running right. I wasn't able to get back and forth anymore. I was out of money and I fell apart online. I absolutely opened up TikTok and just crumbled and asked for help. And it was then that I came to the realization that I can't do this by myself anymore. I can't. I'm too far down. So now I need help. And I'm asking for it. And if people don't want to help me, well, they're welcome to move along. You know? Find something else to watch. There's plenty of Chinese women dressed up like little girls who will dance for you on TikTok. Or people giving fake tarot readings and charging $50 for the privilege of reading for you. So, by all means, there's lots to do on TikTok. Nobody needs to be here. But I won't debase or degrade myself to ask for help. I shouldn't have to. I should be able to explain my situation and ask for help. And if people want to help, that's, like I said, they're welcome to move along. Maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe I'm here to teach people that asking for help isn't a sin, and they shouldn't have to grovel for help. They should simply, be able to explain their situation and ask for it. Hey, baby! Survivor Nation is in the house. How are you, baby? How are you? How are you and the wife doing? Oh, he must have scooted along. Hi, welcome back, Mimi. Hi, welcome back, Mimi. Yeah, of course I do. Yes, there's a cat right there. Sorry, boys. Come here. Yes. Hello. You did. You saw a cat. A very fluffy, fuzzy cat. Yes. You were so pretty. Oh, I love the wickers. Yes, she's a sweetie girl. Hi, baby girl. I love you so much. Yes, she just had a meal. So she's up here messing with me now. I know, so sweet. Look at that. With that face. I'm here to eat your soul because I am so cute. Oh, okay. I love you too. Yes, I love you too. Yes. I love you too. Yep, that's her purring. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Are you my baby girl? Are you my baby girl? Huh? Yes. This is Sourpuss. Yes. Well, somebody has to, Lucy. Somebody's got to love me. Yeah. I know. Oh, thank you. Cat slobber. Oh, yes. Yes. Ugh. You are one soggy cat. Yes. I'm gonna find a tissue and wipe your face because you are soggy. Come here. And there's cat hair all over my face now because it's stuck with your slobber. Thank you so much. Yes, oh yes. Yes, oh yes. Okay. I do love it. Here we go. Can you see her face? Where's her face? Where's your face, sweetie? Are you being cute? No, don't look at me. Look at the camera. Where's your face, sweetie? Are you being cute? No, don't look at me. Look at the camera. Sorry. Yep. She's my little fuzzy girl. She's got her butt pointed toward me, or I would point the camera at her. It's right now we're looking at the business end of things. Oh, she has plenty to say. Sourpuss has plenty to say. Oh, yes. Oh, hello. Hello. Yes, hello. Oh, yes. Oh, they're so cute. There we go. There we go. Yes. Hello, sweetie. Yes, I have. You get a lot of answering machines. You get a lot of people who say, no, we don't do that. We contribute to, XYZ food pantry. That's our outreach program, blah, blah, blah. So they have these big, beautiful facilities that are used once or twice a week, and professionally tended lawns, because, nobody gets out there and actually cuts their own church's grass these days. And they have valet parking, and they don't help the homeless, and they don't help single moms, because, that's what the government's for, right? That's what we pay taxes for. Does any of this sound familiar? I love you, baby. Yes. They toss a few $100s a month at a local food bank and think they've done their part. Because they have a multi-million-dollar church that they have to pay for that nobody uses. Man, you cannot tell me that there is a higher power, a cognizant, active consciousness that exists, that we keep referring to as God, and that entity not be absolutely frickin' pissed at what we have done with our free will. That being that allegedly has given us the power over our own lives and the lives of one another, and looks down at us and thinks, this is what you have done with my gifts? This is how you treat one another? This is how you talk to one another? This is what you do in my name? People who give money to churches are clueless, or they just don't care. It's got to be one of the two. You're either unaware of what the church is doing with the money, or you don't care what the money goes toward. And being really bad at math goes under the clueless heading, by the way. I'm not, picking on anybody, but if you can't figure out that everybody in that church is given $100 a month and there's 500 people at your meetings every Sunday, and you don't know where that money's going, and you can't figure out how to take that kind of investment into a plate, and people are tithing on their salaries too. People actually do that. Instead of putting money in the plate, they will make an arrangement with the church to give 10% of their income before taxes. And that money's going into the church coffers, and then you can't figure out why there are homeless in your community? Well, because your pastor's driving a Bentley, that's why. Because your church is sending money overseas to convert the non-believers. And what that translates into is your church is contributing to a large fund, which then is used to bribe local government officials in other countries to change the laws to reflect what that organization feels as though is appropriate. How dare you insinuate that I'm not Christian simply because I don't agree with how your church spends the money? If your church is giving money to large evangelical organizations that spend that money overseas, they're bribing officials. Goodbye. What I have is an understanding of news headlines. Bye-bye. So here's how it works, kids. You give money to your local Baptist church. Your local Baptist church sends a certain portion of that money to a national organization like Focus on the Family or Moral Majority, okay? Which then in turn funnels that money into an organization which takes it overseas and hands it to local politicians like in Chad or Nigeria to pass laws against homosexuality. Whether they believe it or not, that's not the point. The point is there's American dollars keeping that politician supporting those laws. So the punishment for being gay in many African countries is now death or prison. And you can thank American evangelical ministries for that. And if you don't believe me, then open up your frickin' Google and learn something. You will be horrified to watch people being dragged through the streets by their wrists and beaten because of what American evangelical donations have done. And the two biggest supporters of this nonsense are Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby. Enjoy your sandwiches. And that's not nonsense. That's cold, hard fact. The news source, by the way, you can go to Al Jazeera, or you can go to CBS, or you can go to, what's the other one? Democracy Now! They all have stories on it. Gotta love investigative reporting. I realize a lot of you guys don't know what that is anymore, but there was a time when people actually did investigative reporting and found out why things are changing the way they are. Where's the money? Where's the money coming from? Yeah, there's a woman here on TikTok who is living in her car, and she has MS, and she can't get help. She's been living in her car for 2 years. So you can't tell me that there is a conscious, active, creative force in the universe that we keep calling God that is not paying attention and noticing how we treat one another. How we delegate our money to a church and leave them to be responsible for making things better. Yeah, I'm sorry, Shirley. Hey, how are you, Mickey? Or as we would say in the South, God's a coming and he's a pissed. Yeah, I know. Me too. Hey, sweetie girl. I have a chip on my shoulder? Really? How dare people assume they know what my beliefs are? I know. I got cat butt. Look at that. I got cat butt. Yee! Look at this. Cat butt. Oh, look at that silky tail. Yes. I'm so sorry, Shirley. I am glad, though, that you are there for her. You know, and guys, this is one of the few cultures on the planet where we push the kid out the door at the age of 18 and say, you know, fend for yourself, little fish. Or bird, or whatever your kid is. Here's the other one. This is Chester. So, hi, baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Thank you. You just burped in my face. Thank you. Breath, please. Okay. All right. Oh, stop it. Okay. Yeah. What I was saying is I think that, you know, we shouldn't be so quick to split up families that way anymore. It's going to be a lot more profitable. You keep the kid at home. Yeah, you can go to college here. You know, yeah, I realize you want to go across the country, but you're going to go to college here, and you're going to stay here until you're 30, until you have enough money to pay cash for a house. Oh, Chester, I don't know if he's going to allow me to do that. Chester, come here, buddy. Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh. Look over here. Look over there. There we go. There's Chester. Oh, there you go. Oh, yes. There we go. All right. He says, okay, I'm done. He's huge. Let me see if I can get a picture of him from the side. That's Chester. Yeah. Him a big boy. Him a big boy. So, it's not a religious thing with us. It's a cultural thing. You know, that causes us to push our kids out the damn door. Or, oh, wait, you dropped out of high school? Well, go fend for yourself, even though you're 16. I've seen parents doing that now, too. If you don't want to be parents to start with, don't have kids. But understand that the world is a different place than it was in the 80s or the 90s or 2000. This is not the same place anymore. Your kid will never own a house if you don't help them and allow them to stay home while they save for that down payment. And it starts by talking to them early about this stuff. You know? Yeah. That's one of the things that, you know, I'm kind of upset about with my parents. My grandfather... My grandfather was the color of a roasted chestnut with thick, black, wavy hair at the age of 70. And my grandmother was just as pasty as she could be. This is my dad's parents. Come to find out when I was 15 or 16 years old. Well, the reason is because your grandfather is part Cherokee. That my cats are fat and sassy. Cute and cuddly. Spoiled rotten. And they hid it from us. They hid the fact that we were part Cherokee, you know. I mean, and I didn't find out till I was like 16 years old and didn't realize that, you know, there we held on to our heritage. Had I been taught about it, I might have been able to go to school. I might have been able to have a part of a bigger community growing up as an adult. Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't go around and talking about it because natives raised on the res don't want you to be don't want you. I mean, I don't look like I'm full-blooded. I mean, when you see me, you know, you think, oh wait, she's 60 plus years old, she doesn't dye her hair, and it's this color? Oh wait, she might not be exactly white, you know what I'm saying? Plus I've got, you know, the real almond-shaped eyes, and I've got, you know, the high cheekbones. There they are, right there. So those are things that are not terribly common in people of caucasity. Caucasianness? Yeah. So from what I understand from the natives of TikTok who talk about this, they get tired of hearing people who look like me identify as being part Native. And, you know, I get it. So, you know, it's their culture. They were raised in it. I wasn't. So my parents raised me. My parents denied it even existed. So, you know, it doesn't stop me from feeling cheated, but it is what it is. Because even if I did get involved in a Cherokee community, I wouldn't be welcome as one of them. You know what I'm saying? I would be welcome as a Caucasian person hanging out with the cool kids. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I understand. And, you know, there's a reason that the natives are so protective of their history and their culture, because they want to preserve what's left of it. You know? I mean, the other side of my family did such a good job destroying whatever there was of native culture that so much of it has been lost that they want to preserve what they have left, you know? So, and they had adopted Hey troll, I saw you coming in here. May as well say hi. Hey, Alice. How is what today, hon? It's about 8 degrees out here. I know, hon. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can you believe the size of this great big orange took us? Look at that. Oh, I know. Oh, am I sorry? I'm sorry. Am I touching the butt? You don't want me to touch the butt? Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. So, anyway, yep. So that's where I am. Kind of need help. It's okay. if you know of anybody who'd be willing to, toss a few bucks my way, their links are in my profile. Gas, shampoo, cat food, money toward a car part, any of that stuff helps. Because he's starving, he's wasting away, as you can clearly see. And he's skin and bones here. He needs to be fed. You see what I'm saying? He's starving. Poor little guy. He's skin and bones. There's nothing left. Yeah, Daniel, yes you can. I might not answer, but yeah, you can ask. Well, they haven't needed to. So, I mean, this just started in August, so it's not like it's been going on for years. But if they needed to go to the vet, then at this point, I would need to come on here and ask for help to get them there. But we get flea medicine. I go to the store and I get flea medicine, as donations allow. They're about 2 weeks away from needing flea medicine. So I'm going to need that donation, because I don't have a job. Because I can't find a job. So, yep. No, that's not the way it goes. You can actually track fleas into your house just by walking through your own yard. So unless you get the area around you, and I live out in the woods, so yeah, I have fleas in the house, and the cats get fleas, and they need medicine to keep the fleas from chewing on them. The ticks are so bad here where I live that you can walk through the woods and see piles of them on the ground. Like, I don't know how that happens, but ticks, I guess, live in communities, and oh my God. I live in the Midwest. I don't tolerate rudeness. I really don't. I just told you you can track fleas into your house simply by walking through your yard. And they breed like nothing you've ever seen. So yes, you can live cleanly and still track fleas in. And your animals must have flea meds even if they are indoor animals. I will not tolerate rudeness. If you don't know, if you don't know how fleas are transferred, please Google it and don't get in my face. I won't tolerate it. Yep, absolutely. From ticks? Your sentence was cut off at was. There's a character limit on comments. Yep. Lyme disease. Yep. Yep. Nope, that's exactly right. Baby, I know. I know, Chester. I know. I love you too. I love you too, sweetie. Yeah. So, here come the trolls. They come in waves. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Oh. Oh. So, anyway. Oh. Trolls and trolls and more trolls. What? Oh. Yeah. Yeah, after a while. He's a pretty big boy. He's yeah. Hey, sweetie. Hey, sweetie. Hey, sweetie. Hey, sweetie. What? Are you ignoring me? Yeah, he's trying to sleep. See, I told you they were in here. Yep. I knew they were in here. No, he's actually not. He's just a yellow or orange tabby. Yeah. They're sad little people. Annie is gone. She'll have to go make a new account. So sad. Too bad. They run their mouths and they don't know what they're talking about. And, you know, rather than sitting here and talking to me, they'd rather, you know, be Greater Internet Theory. Penny Arcade. Go Google it. It's normal people plus anonymity plus internet equals asshole. Oh, cool. Yep, 6 toes. Yeah. Polydactyl. These guys have dew claws. They just don't, they only have 4 other toes. So they're not polydactyl. I had one cat who had 6 toes on one paw and another paw, and then 5 on the other. He was part Maine Coon. Daddy must have been a Maine Coon because he didn't live long. He lived to be 5 years old, and that's usually true with a lot of male Maine Coons have heart disease, or not disease, but a defect in their hearts, and they only live to be about 5 years old, which is so heartbreaking when you figure it out because, you know, I had a litter. Mom was just a gray tabby, and Daddy must have been a Maine Coon. She had 6 kittens, and 2 of them were males. One of them was looked very much like a Maine Coon. He was huge, and then the other one, he was a male calico, which are extremely rare, and he only made it till 5 years old too. So. It was really sad. He was such a sweetie bug. His name was Don Juan de Gato, and he was so cuddly. And he had the most beautiful little voice. And he would sing. He'd, wah, wah, you know, these long, drawn-out meows. I loved that little guy. Okay, kids. Let's not be trolls just because somebody told you to be, okay? Okay, Shirley. Nice to meet you. Follow me if you want to know when I go live. Like the trolls do. Follow me if you want to know when I go live. Like the trolls do. Alrighty. Alrighty. Yep, I guess you are. Everybody left. Hi, Softail, back again. Don't feel like talking? No, sweetie. No, sweetie. God. You know, in all the profile pics, it's just like tragic. All right. No, baby. All right, Lucy. Looks like we got another influx of trolls. I'm gonna go find something to do for a while and see if I can find a sandwich half off or something. I'll talk to you later. Hi, down but not out again. How are you? These people come through here and they think I don't recognize their names. It's kind of weird. All right, Lucy. I'll see you later. Talk to you later. All right, Lucy. I'll see you later. Talk to you later.